Hey guys, what's going on? Back with another zombies video. As you guys know, on February 4th, Firebase Z was released. The new zombie DLC 1 map for Cold War and Cold War Zombies. And kind of the same thing with Die Machine when the game first came out. There was kind of like impossible Easter eggs that are in the game. And as Blundell and Treyarch mentioned, pretty much back in 2015 with Shadows of Evil, that there's impossible Easter eggs in the game, and it's not stuff that you can data mine. It's not like activation Easter eggs. It's kind of more like symbolic Easter eggs or visual Easter eggs and stuff that you have to piece together. And since I'm the one that pretty much has been solving most of them, I kind of define it as stuff that's maybe like out of the game, stuff that maybe references like the backstory, and stuff that like you'll really have to do your research and be very educated on a lot of different things to know the hints that Treyarch are showing. So it looks like they did that for Firebase Z. They also did it again, like I said, for Die Machine. However, I didn't release the answer for the Die Machine one because it's a little bit more controversial. Probably in a good way, not necessarily in a bad way. Like it kind of gives you the backstory or the reference or inspiration for some of these maps. And for this impossible Easter egg, it looks like it references an older map. It looks like it references Zetsubou no Shima. So I'm a little bit confused if this is something that's hinting for the route that we're going in the future, if it's hinting at an Easter egg that we missed in 2015 in Zetsubou no Shima. I don't know if it's just a one-time Easter egg kind of inspiration, backstory, paying homage to some of the older maps. And I'll go into a couple other things, but I just wanted to kind of give you a backstory for right now. That it looks like there's one, and some people have noticed some of the Zetsubou no Shima references, and I think it's referencing something that we might have missed in the past, or it's just going down the route kind of like uh, Voyage of Despair in Black Ops 4, how, and you can kind of tell that obviously the posters or and loading screens kind of are similar or very similar actually. So this, I don't know, it's where, like I said, I'm a little bit confused. Where is it just telling us that, hey, we're going down the route where, like Scarlet, Samantha's going to be appearing in different parts of the world where certain things happened, and it kind of gives like a cool little alternate reality, alternate timeline, alternate history of events that happened, which is pretty cool. Or I don't like. I'm generally so confused that I'm a little bit happy trying to see where it's gonna go down the route, which route it's gonna go down. Like if this is where Samantha's gonna end up in certain parts of the world where events happened, and we're gonna have to try and it has that cool backstory like the Titanic, obviously, maybe like the Colosseum, like certain things happened in history, and it's just gonna put her in certain spots, and you'll kind of see what I'm talking about when I go down a route. So in the end cutscene, Samantha walks out of the anomaly. She's wearing a not a fighter pilot, but a pilot's kind of gear. A lot of people thought it was like playing homage to Primus and Ultimus. She has a katana, but she has like a pilot's goggles on and a pilot's um, radio headset. And people have said, and I didn't cross-reference that, but the gas mask maybe is from Zetsubou no Shima. The katana, maybe she goes to Zetsubou no Shima before uh, Takio 1.0 kills himself, before the events of Zetsubou no Shima. And this is where, like I said, I try and solve stuff. I don't try and do too many theories to try and figure it out, but I kind of wonder if she ends up being, or puts herself at Zetsubou no Shima to meet up with Primus, maybe to kind of change the events of the past. And I'm just gonna skip to the end, but I just wanted to kind of show you how she has the fighter pilot goggles. Not I keep saying fighter pilot, but it's really just the pilot and the radio headset that she has. And the only other thing, real quickly, I'll just kind of play that again, is she has the red scarf, and I think there's a lot of red herrings where it's like it misleads you to believe one thing, because everyone, including myself, thought like, oh wow, it's just paying homage to Premise and Ultimate. She has a red scarf. She has the goggles, the pilot goggles, and the pilot radio headset, and she has, let's just say, a katana. So this is where I'm confused if it's just putting her in certain spots, or is it something that we missed in Black Ops 3? So anyways, as you can tell, the name of the song is I Am Lost, and it's sung by Samantha, and Julie Nathanson, the voice actor, sings the song. And this is where I'm like, everything fits together, and I said, whenever I solve stuff, my defining, the final, like, say, or defining moment is, if I think it's something clever enough that Treyarch would have done that, then I know that it's a solve. And the way that everything pieces together, I'm like, wow, that's done pretty clever. It's linking Zetsubou and Shima, it's linking real life events. So anyways, it's called I Am Lost, and of course it's sung by Samantha, who's lost in the dark ether, and it's also probably playing parallel to other events, and I'll show you. So what it looks like it's referencing to me is Amelia Earhart was a pilot who got lost while she was flying, and her flight path puts it right where Zetsubou and Shima is. So this is where I'm saying, like, it's so, Treyarch is so clever. I see people try and solve Easter eggs, and they make a ton of videos, and they just really just sit and try and piece stuff together, but you have to do so much research. Again, you can't just sit there, watch a video, then it reminds me about the kid. Like, I do a lot of research and I'm very knowledgeable, but when I watch other people's videos, it reminds me about the kid in class that takes a test, didn't study for it, doesn't know the material, and just BS's his answers and just writes a bunch of nonsense, and then gets mad at the teacher when they fail. I see so many people do that. They sit there, they look at stuff, they try and just pull stuff out of the air and think they can solve stuff. It takes so much time and research to know what Treyarch is doing, how clever they are. And I've said it multiple times. It's very insulting to the devs to think you could just pull answers out of the air and have everything solved together and make a quick buck on YouTube. You would have to know who Amelia Earhart is. You have to know Zetsubou no Shima's location. You have to know even Keener der Toten. It's even maybe tied into Keener der Toten. But Amelia Earhart has the same, pilot's goggles, and and this is her. It looks the same. And like I said, one or two things might be coincidence, but when there's like 5 or more things that all adds up and it's cleverly done by Treyarch, then you know it's a solve. So anyways, that's her, Amelia Earhart, and her plane looks exactly similar kind of to the ones that fly over Zetsubou no Shima. And I don't know exactly how I have this piece together, because sometimes I just kind of put everything in a slideshow, and I'm like, I just can't waste time editing, because it's really going to take too much time and I'll end up not doing it, or a certain time is going to pass. So this is just a cartoon version of Amelia. She does have the goggles and the red scarf. So I know a lot of people say, and it could mean double meanings. It could mean Monty, maybe she visited Monty or something like that. It could also mean that, but I'm talking about deep, dark Treyarch Easter eggs, how they cleverly put stuff together. That she does in some versions, like, I'm not trying to clickbait or whatever, but in some versions, mainly the cartoon version that I saw, that she does have a red scarf, she has the goggles and stuff like that. And here's some more versions of her. The only thing is, they put her in a red plane, but I don't know why a red plane. Because I know in like the image up top right here, she doesn't have a red plane. I don't know where the red plane comes in, why they put her in a red plane. I don't know, maybe she had red hair. I think maybe that's why she was like a redhead, and maybe they put her in a red plane to symbolize her. Maybe the same thing with the red scarf. So this is where it fits into Zetsubou no Shima. In the song, like I said, from Kevin and Brian and Treyarch, sung by Julie Nathanson, who's the voice actor for Samantha. It puts her in a similar, and it's hinting or symbolically hinting towards stuff that's in Zetsubou no Shima, where there's the plane wing. Maybe they're trying to say that's her plane wing. Maybe Amelia Earhart landed in their version and she took her plane parts and crafted it together. Or maybe Sam ended up going to Zetsubou no Shima. And here's the thing that's crazy. Every map in Cold War looks like it's linking to a previous Black Ops 3 map, and I'll show you that next. But this one looks like it's linking to Zetsubou no Shima, where Amelia Earhart might have crashed and where Samantha might have visited, or her plane might have crashed inside the Dark Aether. Like I said, I'm just showing you stuff. I try not to go into too much theories because I'm gonna probably drive myself nuts trying to figure out where Treyarch is going, because they can, like even Craig Houston said, pull the rug out from under you. You can think you have so much stuff solved, then they're gonna probably change it at the end or something like that. But keep in mind, I think the main theory that I might go with is that maybe they're putting her in certain scenarios around the world, certain events, historic events, and kind of similar to the Chaos story in Scarlet. So here's the crazy part. So Amelia Earhart's plane crashed in the same location as Pohnpei, Zetsubou no Shima in real life. And you'll see in this clip that there is a plane similar to hers. So I don't know if Treyarch is saying or hinting at that Sam went to Zetsubou no Shima. Maybe that was her dropping the perk machines for the premise crew. As you'll see, the plane flies over, crashing. Then the left wing is on fire and it's dropping perks. So I don't know if that's hinting at Sam was at Zetsubou no Shima. That puts her in the location helping out the premise crew. And this is another clip. And the main thing to take away from this, and I don't know if I exactly saved it, but Amelia Earhart's plane, the left wing, somebody thought they saw it, like there was an eyewitness seeing a plane. And
skull.
I believe it
What
was
could I possibly
in
want with a skull?
30s she crashed. Again, the left wing is on fire, and maybe Sam got teleported to Zetsubou no Shima. I mean, there was a lot of Dark Aether stuff and portals that open in the sky, and I probably should have clipped that, but if you play the map, you'll know that there's a lot of portals. So that maybe that's how, like, they're gonna explain Mob of the Dead plane. They're gonna explain maybe stuff like this. And here's the thing that I'm saying is, like, every new map in Cold War looks like it's linking to a previous map, whereas in Die Machine, you're underwater with kind of like a luminescent giant jellyfish. And as you know, Shadows of Evil is set underwater. Morgue City is underwater, kind of playing homage to Rapture City and Bioshock. So Die Machine links to Shadows of Evil, and it looks like Firebase is linking to Zetsubou no Shima. The next map, maybe in the Ural Mountains, is probably going to link to Der Eisendrache, is my guess. If they're linking each map to a previous map, maybe putting Samantha in certain locations. Maybe they're saying, like, Sam was in Shadows of Evil somehow, helping the crew out. But who knows? Like I said, I don't do too many theories. I'm just showing that how it looks like Firebase and Samantha. It puts her in Zetsubou no Shima. Maybe traveled from the Dark Aether. Maybe you can leave in certain locations, or maybe it's like a dimension on top of a dimension. And this is just more pieces of the puzzle. Again, I don't know exactly how, but it says in this comic book called The Herald, Lovecraft and Tesla, Nikola Tesla's fiance is Amelia Earhart, and I think the only theory that I might put out there, the Treyarch might have removed a lot of Lovecraft and Tesla stuff from Cold War. I think we were going to go down that route. There's a lot of hints saying that we probably should have had some Tesla and Lovecraft stuff. I know because of the social environment or social landscape going on in the U.S., they might have removed a lot of Lovecraft stuff because Lovecraft was known to be a racist, and a lot of his aliens were based on racism and xenophobia and stuff back then. So maybe Treyarch kind of was thinking ahead of the curve and like, hey, we got to remove Lovecraft from our story. But at the same time, it does put that Tesla's fiance, who is Amelia Earhart, in this comic book. And there's a lot of Lovecraft and Tesla stuff that kind of goes together. They were kind of like enemies in a lot of different stories. But in this one, I think they actually team up. So it looks like there were supposed to be a lot of Tesla and stuff like that. Or maybe Char's going to say that Edward Richtofen is Tesla. I know he has his Wunderwaffe, is like an electrical gun, whatever. Electric Wunderwaffe weapon that shoots electricity. Maybe in this story, we're going to end up finding Lovecraft. Maybe Edward or Eddie's going to end up being Tesla, Nikola Tesla. So, and in the real life original story, Eddie and Samantha are actually married. I'm not gonna say who they were in real life because the family members are still alive, and it could come up, cause issues and stuff like that. But maybe the path that Treyarch is going is we're gonna have to fight Lovecraft and some of the monsters and aliens. And Eddie's gonna be like this version of Nikola Tesla with his Wunderwaffe, and maybe him and Sam were married or engaged at one point. I mean, that's just something that I kind of noticed. More pieces of the puzzle. So I kind of did this backwards. So I'll go back to that. When you go to Keynote or Tilton, it says Samantha, Amelia, Abigail. And this is where I'm saying, like, I don't know if it's kind of like that Tag to Tilton, Shangri-La is on Mars Easter egg. They're just kind of tying up old knots or tying up loose ends or whatever it's called. So maybe this is explaining what that was. I know Abigail was Misty from Transit. So if you look up Amelia, I kind of did a video on that, and I said in the Latin term it means rivals. Treyarch might have, if you see the mouse, Treyarch might have changed stuff. Maybe at one point Sam was going to end up fighting Misty or Abigail. That's why it said Samantha rivals Abigail. Maybe that was what it meant. But if you read at the bottom, it says Amelia is a feminine given name derived from Amelia, and it's the same thing as Amelia Earhart. The feminine form of Amelia's. It says the name is likely derived from the same root as the Latin word rival, excel, emulate. Or maybe it's not Sam that came out of the dark ether. There's, like I said, I don't want to give too many theories, but there's so many routes that Treyarch can go down. It's a Germanic name. Maybe Eddie took her body, who knows, but maybe Eddie or somebody was in dark ether, maybe took her body, and that's probably why they made her look like Amelia Earhart. There's so many different levels to it. So again, that's where it references Kino. Like I said, I know I solved something when I end up saying to myself, man, that's so clever how they piece everything together, how everything all makes sense. So that looks like that's where they kind of got this from. And something that I kind of noticed when I was looking on Twitter is Samantha, Amelia, Abigail, Max's is just a version that somebody did back then, made a comic book. I think they might have just spelled it wrong, unless like people say that Treyarch might actually put stuff in their Easter eggs, or may put other Easter eggs out there that kind of explain stuff. So this is where it puts Amelia Earhart in the same location as Zetsubou and Shima. So on the left is Pompeii, where Zetsubou and Shima is located. On the right is Amelia Earhart's flight path. So she left from Leh, So any location in New Guinea. So any location. This is where the airfield was. She left from multiple angles, I believe. This is where she was supposed to go, or maybe that was the last part that she was headed. But people say she might have went off track. She might have went different places. She might have got lost. So she might have, if you think of it, right around here, I believe, is where Zetsubou and Shima obviously would be, maybe a little bit closer over here. So she might have left from any of these angles and then ended up landing or crashing on Pompeii, Zetsubou and Shima. Or maybe she flew over that. I mean, her wing was on fire if that's supposed to be her plane. Again, here is Pompeii, and here is different angles of maybe where she ended up going. That's why it's kind of strange the way they worded everything, or kind of strange how they did the Easter egg is what I mean. It puts her in the location of Pompeii. That's why she's dressed up as Amelia Earhart. And I mean that's pretty much it. Like I said, these are just kind of a couple pieces of stuff that I wanted to put together. How that might explain why she was in dressed up as a pilot with a red handkerchief, and she had Takio's katana. Maybe she just went to go visit the body. Maybe she went to go save him. I don't know. I don't know if it's just an Easter egg kind of like this where it kind of ties up loose ends. Anyways, I just wanted to kind of show you guys this. Let me know what you think. I'll see you guys later.